Good morning, good morning. Welcome up to the Stocked Up live stream. Let's go. Market just opened. We have that SPY pulling back a little bit here into the actual open, although it had a pretty big rip this morning to test the all-time high. It's not at new all-time highs, but the all-time high is actually testing. Pretty insane to say. SPY is moving up, though, in a pretty good way so far this morning. We are opening up around 0.43%, at least where we are at this moment. Pretty good action. Up to 665, which we're actually below now, but 667.30 did test, and the all-time high is actually 667.30. Or very, very close to it. What's up, Demure? Did you wake up early? No, I'm kidding. Stock Angler, Dark. Tangy Man, Chai, Christian, Mark Norman, Jason, Jake, Joe Papa. Let's get it. Like to see the SPY opening up, though. That's a really good sign here to open up the morning. Tilray's up 27%. Whoa. Up to $1.50. There we go. There we go. $1.50 came into play. That was a pretty insane jump there by Tilray. I used to always like all the Tilray jokes we had here. Demir already made profit. That's why he's here. Nice. That sounds solid. Electronic Arts moving up a little bit more in pre-market. Had to watch them. They have a plan to go private. I thought that was a pretty crazy thing to see. TTWO, nice action in pre-market, but at open, it's looking a bit rough. Tesla had a nice move at open as well, and in pre-market. So Tesla's up 2.2%, up to $450. Up past the recent high, extending up very well on the daily chart. Let's go, Tessie. They might make an all-time high here soon. I guess a lot of optimism on the Optimus robot. Oh, Demir made $400 on Tesla in 9 seconds. That's what I like to hear. Now that's a dub, Demir. I like it.
All right, all right, all right.
Pretty amazing there. Looking over to the poll here. We're going to make a poll. Let's see. All right, here we go. What do you think's going to happen? Will the SPY make the push to new highs? Will it stay flat or will it reject back to the downside? Curious which one you guys will vote for here. Whoa. Get back on darkest hour. That's pretty insane, Demir. One sec, guys. Sorry about that. My new cat's in here destroying everything. I had to take it out. NASDAQ doing pretty well today with the gap up as well, just above 600, but having some trouble getting back above there at open now. I like to see $600 in play, though, on QQQ again. Palantir had a nice run at open, but rejected right away. Pretty weird. Look at the daily chart of Palantir. I'm a bit worried that they're trying to form a lower high here. You know, with all the stocks starting to get bullish again, if we start to see, like, new highs with the SPY and things like that, it's going to be tough for Palantir to drop in my eyes, but it is plausible. You know what is kind of funny to me is, even though Palantir, you know, they've done very well, right? They've probably outperformed in many metrics, of course, but whenever I just compare them simply to SPY, it's interesting how they have a moderate correlation, how they're not a bit more correlated. I would have thought they would have been more like comparing Nvidia to the SPY. But I guess nonetheless, Nvidia has a much higher weighting, so. I don't know how like AMD's is. Advanced Money Destroyer. At least on the weekends. Oh, I see. I probably wouldn't play during the week anyways. Yeah, AMD's is better too. Hey, Jerry, thanks for subscribing. DVLT, Mark said. Data Vault. Wow, another good rip by them. This one has been on fire lately. Broke above $1 on Friday. Okay. That's a pretty wild move. Data Vault. Tesla ran up to that 450 mark. Missed it because I was too shy, not mad, would rather trade safe, Mark said. Hey, I would too, Mark. I think that's smart. Don't have to go too crazy, especially on things like DVLT. Wild. Let's go check in on Tilray again. Yeah, another move, up 32%, guys. Tilray is on fire. Wow, this is insane. Let's go see if there's some news. There was some news today. Trying to take a screenshot of it. There we go. President Trump shared a video that discussed potential medical benefits of CBD for seniors. I guess that could be what's getting that going there. Let me go look at other websites too. There's even more news. Even more news. Trump rescheduling marijuana would be an important domino toward passing cannabis banking bill, GOP Senate sponsor says. So Trump rescheduling marijuana would be an important domino. Very interesting. We're still seeing how we can get it done in Q4. That's one problem, is that there's so much going on right now. They have to worry about funding the government. I don't know how they're going to think about marijuana at the moment, but they are getting some action today. So we had this Trump news. We had the senator say some good news as well. Man, my Thinkorswim just crashed. No way. Wow. It was running strong a minute ago. It probably needed a good restart. Demir said Tesla rejection. Whoa. Yeah, 450. Pretty insane drop there. All the way back down now to 445 support. Dang, Tesla. That's a pretty bad drop. From the high of day to where it just dropped, that was a 1.3% pullback. Pretty good. It was stuck at big resistance. Sucks to see it get back in the zone, though. If it uses 445 as support, that'd be really solid. Demir says, I'm going to say it's going to chop for the rest of the day. Let's go, Coconut. It actually says that this is the name of this song mixtape or video, we'll just say. It says the mixtape that made an entire city dance until the morning of 1985. So the heart of the 80s. Stupid that AAL can't just turn it back up. American Airlines, wow, another sell-off, breaking down under the low from Friday. Pretty bad drop there. How's EA and TTWO? EA, still pretty high from their move this morning, again up another 4.8%. Pretty solid jump there. Check in on the nuclear stocks today. Here's TSLA 450. Nice resistance over there. See a little pullback. Boeing? Wow, Boeing really dropped off again. Damn, they had some good news last week. I thought maybe they would continue this morning, but in pre-market they were holding up okay. At open, though, they really gave it all back, didn't they? Not totally all back, but still quite a bit for a move this morning. Fell right through support as well. We're about 15 minutes in so far. SPY has been pretty choppy. Had an opening move drop and trying to recover now. Let me check Bitcoin. Good support bounce on the daily chart. Very nice bounce. 108,500 or so. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, there might be some news. Marijuana rescheduling, that would be pretty interesting. I wish that we would get some more news with this here soon. TLRY. Look at that daily chart action. Whenever this stock pops like this, sometimes it'll have good multi-day continuations. It would be great to see that play out here like that. This morning. Guys are looking at Navitas, NVTS. Looks pretty solid as well. Really solid. The only problem with Navitas is that it just ran into a big resistance. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but just be a little careful here. It could end up breaking out, so I'm not saying not to play it or not to look at it, but just be aware. This is a big level. Looks like it wants to break. It's been on Goose's radar for a while. The daily chart is pretty awesome on Navitas. I know it had that great jump back in May. I believe they had a investment from Nvidia. Made them jump. Recently, consolidating quite hard, but, you know, they bounced off the bottom end of their zone and held it really good. That's a great sign to see it hold like that. I'm going to down some of this Gatorade really fast. Give me 1 sec. Trump's doing 100% tariffs on movies outside the U.S., Steven said. I did hear some stuff about that. I wonder if that'll affect anyone like Warner Bros. Or Disney or Netflix or somebody like that. Netflix had a pretty big drop this morning. And then they recovered right back up. I would assume that it was on that news. Yeah. Definitely something big there. He posted to Truth Social. It'll be imposing the 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. He always says that now. But Netflix is moving up now, funny enough. It recovered up pretty well. Disney had a downside move and is now green, up 1% on the day, actually. More than their average percent rise. Looking at Disney, they did just bounce off of a huge support on the daily. They've been up and down within this range for a long time. Maybe they can pull an Intel and start to actually get up and out of that range. Disney's been stuck in this one even longer, though. It's like 2 straight years of being stuck in this channel. Good opportunities within it, though. We have to, Rick. We have to. QQQ, 0.88% to the upside. Nice action. Is this an all-time high? No. On the QQQ for an all-time high, we'd have to get past like 603. SPY, of course, is at 667.30. You like Robinhood here, Jake? It's up $5.30. It's actually still... Oh, hang on. That's because I went to the hourly. It's messed up. There we go. Yeah, up 4.6%. Wow. Yeah, no kidding. Really great price action by Robinhood. Really nice. Wow, Robinhood. That is wild. 130. Watch out. 130 resistance overhead will be in play soon. That is a huge level for Robinhood. I think it's the all-time high. Yeah, it's the all-time high. Damn, what a rip today. The entire market is... I couldn't believe even that the SPY had that great rip in the morning. EA going private in $55 billion deal that will pay shareholders $210 a share. $210 a share. Make 3%. Bit weird. I was thinking you could try to arbitrage that, but wouldn't really work the best. Tom, so what happens when a company goes private when you have shares? What happens to your shares? So essentially, when a company goes private, they're going to have to buy you out of those shares. It's a bit weird. I'm not sure if there could be situations where your shares convert over somehow into like more of the private business. Again, I don't think that that's necessarily something that would happen very often. But I do think, I do know that a lot of times, you just get the buyout, kind of like this situation where they calculated that they're going to buy everybody out for $210 a share. Twitter did a similar thing. Yes, Goose. That was another one that did that. I'm trying to think of another situation, but Twitter's the very popular one, of course, with Elon there. Varian did it too when they were bought by Siemens. Coconut said, man, so tempted to buy Tesla now. TSLA pulling back down to 442.25. You're looking to buy up the dip today. It's actually not too bad of a strategy here as it gets towards support and fills the gap. Around like 441 probably wouldn't be terrible. QQQ's holding up pretty strong here. SPY not so much, but QQQ actually pretty nice. How's the banks today? Not the best PA. Pretty good movement, but just not the best price action here. Volunteer attempting a move. 178.50 bouncing. Watch 181 overhead. Tried to come back to test that high of the morning, but failed a little bit. Alrighty, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Might be a minute or two. Just have to take care of something really fast, but don't go anywhere. We will be back. NVIDIA bottom left. Looking pretty good today. Didn't even notice yet. Up 2.8%. Just a moment. Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that. What is going on? Yvonne said, is app a sell or does it have room to go up? App loving. Looks like Nvidia was popping up pretty well there. Still consolidating a little bit, but like the overall price action. Asked about app loving. Steve said, I love app. Up 6.4% today. Look at that daily action. Wow. App loving, 713.50. Holy crap. I cannot believe how much app loving is ripping right now. That is pretty crazy. Let's go check on Tesla. Ooh, pulling back. Fell under 444, 445 in a pretty bad way. You're going to be watching 440 to 441 as it fills the gap. Watch for the gap to fill. We could potentially see a bounce here. A little gap fill action potentially. Watch for potential bounce. Coconut believes in Elon now. Hey. A lot of people think the opposite now with all the politics that he started doing. Trying to look at some pretty decent pieces of news here today. Not finding too much besides stuff we've already went over, like EA or some of the MJ news. Go check in on Tilray maybe again really fast. Watch Tesla maybe try and bounce here soon. Let's see, Tilray. New high of the day, actually. Wow. Another new high of the day. Only by a couple cents from where we previously saw, but still pretty solid. I'm actually pretty happy it's this time of the year. I'm feeling good. Like going into October, the fall. Excited for it this year for some reason. Don't know why. I'm not going to say that when it's like 50 degrees out. Or 40. Gilly said, what is happening with Tilray? Yeah, you know, they've been ripping pretty good lately. We go to the daily chart. There's been a lot of positivity. Now, so far this morning, there was some news with Trump. Let me look again. Let's see. President Trump shared a video that discussed potential medical benefits of CBD for seniors. And then also, there was an article on Marijuana Moment. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Or if I deleted it. Ah, here it is. Here's another one where they talk about Trump rescheduling marijuana would be an important domino towards passing cannabis banking bill, GOP senator says. Sounded good there. So two fairly good pieces of news today, but I wouldn't think that these pieces of news would have been this insane to make a 37% jump, but nonetheless, that is the volatility of the MJ sector coming into play as well with how crazy these things move. They really do go crazy. Michael said insiders know he's rescheduling. That could be. I mean, who knows, right? All right, one sec. Sorry, whenever I left the room a minute ago, my cat came in and destroyed some things, and I thought it was out of here, but it was still in here, I found. Getting into everything. Goose said, man, MJ's down 90% from its highs in 2020. Seriously, it's terrible, isn't it? It's pretty rough. Pretty rough. And it reverse split. 1 for 12. How's Tilray? Let's see how much Tilray's down from their highs. This one might be more fun. You said down 90%. Tilray's probably down 99%. Let's go see. Down to 1.5. Okay. Yeah, 99 point something percent. That's pretty bad. See you later, Demure. See you later. Have a great one. No problem, Gilly. Yeah, they're really hot, aren't they? Very hot stocks in the short term. QQQ is attempting a run. 601.50 hitting right now. Like to see it moving like this, though. It just broke above 601.50 a minute ago and trying to push up. Pretty solid. SPY attempting something similar. Mr. Charles says MSTR moving up 3.5%. MSTR was pretty brutal last week, but it started coming back Friday and now today. Good comeback up to 320 plus. Wow. Yeah, nice intraday move. I can see why you're looking at it right now, Charles. Kyle Witt said Amazon looking to break out. It's pretty close. I like 222. Really nice level. A lot of reaction there today. Yeah, it is attempting. Come on, let's see a break. CRNX. Never heard of this one. This one's going to be a wild one. Crinetics Pharmaceuticals. Let's see the daily. Oh. Nice jump on Friday, but pulled back hard today. Strange one. I've never heard of it. What do they do? Do they specialize in anything, Fisher, or were you just looking at the straight up price action? Wow, that's pretty wild. MSTR had a ton of puts last week, Goose said. Like in the middle of the week or at the end? I can see why in the middle of the week for sure. Goose said, isn't it weird that Amazon, Apple, Google, and Nvidia are all trading around 200? I guess that is kind of weird when you think about the Mag 7 and then they all are, but Apple's at like 250, Amazon's at like 220. Nvidia, 182. I think it's just coincidence, really. I don't think it's that wild. Used to be a lot different, of course. Some of these stocks would split and things, or they wouldn't seem like that, but Hood's going crazy. Let's see. Oh yeah, 130 coming up. It's still very consistent today, 6.3%. That is a consistent move. Can you tell me how you knew the reversal for Tesla? Amen. So the main thing with Tesla today that we were watching for is really, as it fell down, we were watching these peaks. See where the green arrow is on the left side? On Friday, Tesla essentially hit right around this 440 to 441 area and could not break above it in after hours or right at the end of the day. That indicated that it was a pretty good area of support now that Tesla's passed it. So as Tesla dropped today, it started to fill this gap. A lot of times stocks love to fill the gap and then you'll see a reversal. So in this case, Tesla, very nice reversal, very good support bounce, filled the gap well, and ultimately held support. Did we know at the time that it was going to reverse? Not with 100% certainty at all. And that's why you have to have stop losses. You have to have a strategy to play a reversal like this. And like, let's just say in this case, you probably would have set it up something along the lines of buying in at 441. In this case, you probably, it bounced quick. You probably would have had to get in right there. Your stop would probably go down to just under 440. Because again, pretty big area of support where the gap would fill. And then you target, back to the upside, either to here or possibly higher. Probably scale out here and then go further. I wish that they made these risk reward tools where you could like add in like parts to scale in and out at. Let's see. I'm sure you can, or I'm sure you can get some. I'll have to look that up. I bet that there's some add-ons or something, but it's just a nice setup whenever you see a good support bounce like that. And of course, on the gap fill just makes it even better. Thank you, Fisher. Appreciate that. I just switched it up recently. Went to some different music. Hope you guys like it better. Are we voting up in the poll? Don't forget to vote. As you vote, destroy that like button. Let's go. 18 likes and also hit that sub as well. SPY 665 reversal again. Uh-oh. Shoot, that's not the best to see there. QQQ kind of reversing, but not near as bad looking as the SPY, where SPY looks like it's actually having a nice reversal down. It is normally a red day on the last day of September, right? Fisher asked. Not the last day of September, but specifically the 29th. The 29th is, like today, is historically a pretty red day. It's actually the worst day of the entire month. Waiting on that SPY to test 662, hopefully, Johnny said. SPY to test 662. Nice, looking for a pretty good drop. That would fill the gap pretty well from this morning. There's a pretty big gap on SPY. Now, not necessarily a gap technically because there's a candle there, but, you know, very weird opening pre-market candle. I wouldn't count it. Robinhood app is very bad to do bracket trading where you can place a stop loss and a target sell price. Is it, Goose? I haven't tried it on there in a long time, but I do hear that it's confusing, to say the least. Although a lot of people say Thinkorswim's confusing too, but... Wow, look at Upstart here. UPST down 7%. That is pretty nasty. That is a rough drop off to see. UPST 7%. That is quite the move. Let's go see the daily on it. Whoa. Really extending down last week. I didn't even look at this one last week, but it really broke under support and just died. Today was like the nail in the coffin for it. Damn. What a drop. Upstart, more like downstart. I don't know. That's stupid. That was stupid. ACBs, you know, following Tilray. It's up 23% today. Tilray is now up 40%. 40%. It kept moving. We're still moving higher on Tilray. Johnny said the trade desk is trying to hold support, but it's very overbought. Let's see, TTD. You know, the good thing with TTD is that it just died recently and is bouncing off support. It's not super duper overbought whenever you zoom out, but I feel you with what you mean. Where's the next good support here on TTD? It's hard to even find one with how it's moved. Or the next resistance, I mean, sorry. Looks like right around $50 a share. $50, wow. It'd be nice to see it run up another $2 today. That'd be nice. Oh, yeah, I was, Xavier. Good call. Yeah, SMCI, though. Pretty good uptrend from its lower support range here. Just be a little careful of it, Charles. I don't love it. It's not necessarily breaking out in a crazy way. It seems very slow here within this range that I'm drawing out. So it is actively uptrending, though, so that's a good sign that it's actively uptrending. It's not my favorite setup. QQQ trying to come up to test some recent highs. Might try to break 602 today. Come on. Right at the high of the day again. Get it done. Nvidia looks good, Aller said. NVDA. It does actually, yes. I like the setup here. It consolidated. It's starting to come up towards that high of the day. We might see a 185 test. That'd be nice here for Nvidia to really get a nice move going. Dark o'clock needs Nvidia to break 185 for blue skies. Nvidia does look pretty solid here, I gotta say, but you're right. 185 for would be really nice for a good breakout towards new all-time highs. Yes, that is going to be critical here over the next couple trading days. See if we can really get that done or not. What a setup, though. Pretty insane stock. The way that it's moved recently. Will SPY push up to new all-time highs today or not have the strength? We're going to end the poll. 54% of you voted that it would get there and make new highs. Wow, I'm surprised that that's what came into the poll today. It did get there in pre-market, so it makes sense that you guys would vote that. Maybe you'll be right at the end of the day. It's pretty far away, don't you say? I just may. I like it though, 667.30 overhead. Of course, there's a couple resistances now in play. This has been a pretty big zone. Oh yeah, you know Dark. Not today, Nathan said. You're probably right. You're probably right. That's pretty far away for now, but... Hold and stay, Nathan said. John said, if my calls aren't doing well, should I wait it out till tomorrow to see how they do? Since today isn't a great day to see the gauge and even some of my profits. It's not as easy as just like a yes or no question there, John. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in play here. I'm not even sure which stock you're talking about. Probably SPY. The only way I would really wait it out till tomorrow is if this low of the day held up. If SPY starts to break much under the low of the day today, it's going to get pretty brutal. So at the end of the day, you have to protect the money in your account. You have to stop out somewhere. You can't just hold into the next day and hope, unless that's your strategy. You know, now you could set up your trading that is your strategy, but you need to understand that you could end up with some pretty massive losses, especially if you're scalping or you're trying to scalp. Yeah, it's always fine to close and reopen tomorrow, like Aller said. Mark and Heather said, what are your personal thoughts on Intel? I like Intel quite a bit, so I might be a bit biased here, but what are your personal thoughts on Intel in the next coming few months, provided we don't have anything unforeseen happen to the whole market? Yeah, as long as we're okay in the overall market, I like Intel personally. I think it's a pretty nice stock. I like the way that they're starting to get deals done. Things are starting to happen. They're approaching Apple for investments, Taiwan Semiconductor for investments. They already have investments from Nvidia. The government bought a stake in them. So it's a pretty evolving business, I would say, as far as Intel is concerned. Hopefully they can continue this string of good momentum that they're on. Now, something that I'll say is that I would love for them to dip and to buy them a bit lower again. If you're not in yet, I would probably wait for a dip and then try to enter there rather than buy in up here and then watch it drop to 30 and be upset that you didn't buy at 30 or whatever, right? But I do like that $30 support. That's going to be a huge support coming up if it does dip. So I would watch for 30. It's a good range to watch for. But I do like it to the upside generally for the next few months. Of course, nothing goes straight up, but generally up for the next few months, yes. Nvidia invested $5 billion into Intel, but $10 billion into OpenAI, or $100 billion, they said, in OpenAI. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if OpenAI was on the market, they would be destroying Intel. No problem. For sure, Jake. But it's good to see him getting some stuff going. Good to see. They also had an investment in them by Oracle. It might not have been Oracle. Somebody else invested in Intel too. It was pretty strange, but it was a pretty big one. Hood over 130, Kyle said. If Apple, well, let's look at Robinhood here. Wow. Yeah, 130 breakout. Whoa, that is insane. So consistent. Up 7.8%. That is wild. If Apple would move up, SPY may make highs, Kyle said. If Apple could start moving, they are trying to bounce a little bit. Let's go check the SPY. Yeah, it does look very similar. How's Nvidia here? Nvidia's flat too. Nvidia would help if they would run to 185. Tesla's been kind of consolidating too. How about Google? Yvonne asked me about Google or Goog. I only look at Goog L, the Class A shares. There's more volume there generally, but whenever I'm watching Google, I like them overall as a business, and for the longer term and the short term, they are very overextended, and I am worried about a pullback. Although they have been very consistent on the uptrend, but I am worried about a pullback here with Google. I'm not a big fan here in the short term myself. I feel like there's a lot better opportunities out there, even for day trading. Much better opportunities. Today, specifically, they're hitting right off resistance at 250 to 251. It's a pretty brutal move to see, and pretty brutal rejection, honestly, back down. Mark and Heather says, I'm in for March calls. Intel bought before the big push with the thought of holding, hoping for a continued push towards earnings before selling out. Nice, Mark. Nice. That'd be beautiful there for you with Intel. Yeah, that's great. I think you could see some better action by March. I like it. There will be some periods of consolidation, but yeah, I like it. Solid, solid, solid. What do you think of LMND, Lemonade? In the ultra short term, Lemonade does seem to be recovering up in a pretty decent way. They're kind of pushing through resistance here this morning. It's not my favorite setup, but let's go to like a 5-minute chart. Starts to look a little bit better. $55 would be a huge resistance if they could get there. What sucks is that 54 is pretty large too. So they're just right under two pretty decent resistances here. One thing I noticed with the Lemonade is it seems like it's never like just a straight shot. Pretty rarely, right? Only in pre-market. Now, here was a good day. I don't love it. I think the volatility is a bit back and forth. What's the deal with Costco? It had good earnings last week, I heard. It must not have been good enough. Let's go look at the 5-minute. Yeah, I mean, they dropped pretty much right away from their earnings. Continued down Friday morning. Continuing down again today. I mean, I didn't do a super duper deep dive into their earnings yet. I did on Friday, but I was looking more for like consumer data, but I didn't really get any of that. Same store sales miss forecasts. Uh-oh. So same store sales miss forecast. Consumers weigh value push and tariff pressures. Ah, that would make a lot of sense. There's normally, if you see a stock move down on earnings like that, there's normally a couple data points that seem a little off, at least from the forecast or something. If not, the normal EPS and revenue might do well, but forecasts play a big role too. Jaden said, Tom, do you see my question? You know, Jason, I would think that it would cause some selling pressure for sure. If the government shut down, it could cause some selling pressure. Now, in last night's video, we talked a lot about what happened in the previous government shutdowns. Let me pull up some of this data. So here's some data that shows what happened in the past shutdowns. So if we're looking at the data here, we can see that during the shutdowns, the market goes green 50% of the time. So it's like a coin flip. It's pretty strange. Or it doesn't go negative, at least. Pretty strange, I would say. But as we know, the market generally goes green more than 50% of the time. So it's definitely under the average. But for it being a shutdown, you would think that it would be kind of rough. You know, you would just think, okay, I would expect it to be a bit more rough than that. But it's actually not. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. Now, on the very first day, I would expect some negativity, yes. If we open up on Wednesday morning, pre-market, and the government starts shutting down, yeah, I think it'll be a drop. But do I think that the government's gonna shut down? Personally, I don't. Personally, I don't.